Now we're here today at the, this is part of the National Park Service, U.S. Department of Interior. It's the Seminole Rest Historic Site, and it's part of the Canaveral National Seashore. And we're going to take a little walk around here today. Yeah, we're here at Seminole Rest Trail today. This is part of the Canaveral Seashore site. It was an ancient 18-foot Indian shell mound. This was all, there's actually piles of shells that the Indians used to use to food in that. And there's a half-mile loop here. And for there's centuries of shells there, and there's quite a bit. There's a little thing about the Snyders. There's some houses back in here, but it was a family who had lived here. So we're going to take a little tour around. They got a lot of these little neat things. Kind of shows the Seminole Indians there back in the days there when they lived here, and they went out and got a lot of shellfish and that. Little signs telling you about the oyster reefs. Watch your boats, and there is out in here, you'll see the water's murkied up there. You can run your boat right up onto an oyster reef there and actually get messed up, you know. Now, I hope the sun comes out here and burns some of this fog off. Usually from here you'll be able to see the water out here. If we hang out here long enough it will. But they have some beautiful trails here. And you can walk, they say it's like a half-mile loop. You know, I wanted to show you, these are bags of oysters. You know, I need to find out why they do it. They have them stacked all along the seashore here. And these are really bags full of oysters. I don't think these are the ones you want to eat. But they do have them stacked all along the shore here. This is a pretty cool little beach right here. Oh, I wish you can see the sun, if it would burn off the fog here. We have a couple boats harbored out here, and you can see them there in the fog. This is a little sign that tells a little about the Seashore Stabilization Project. There's a lot of what they call shell maidens containing artifacts and that. Hopefully you can read this from here. You might be able to read a little bit about it there. But that has something to do with these shells that we see down along the shore there. It's to help protect the shoreline. Yeah, again, we can walk along just beautiful trail out here. It's a nice path. Again, I'm hoping the fog burns off here shortly, so we can get some little nicer pictures here without the fog overlay in the background. Looks like we've got some guys over here pulling some nets up. I don't know if they're pulling shells out or what. We'll get on around here and see what they're doing. Looks like there's a tarp out there in the water. They're cleaning that up out of the water, removing the debris there so it isn't messing up the shoreline there. It says archaeologists believe that women and children gathered shellfish along the shore using their feet and hands while digging with sticks or rakes. Meanwhile, the men fished in the deeper waters of the lagoon or ocean using fish traps, nets, barbed arrows, and spears. It says, what did the Tomokans look like when they were choosing a location to obtain food? What might cause them to return to the same spot repeatedly? This was a clam processing site, and archaeologists suggest that it could have had other purposes too. So there's a little picture of what it might have looked like back in there. Probably, I don't know how long ago, maybe 12,000 years ago, around 12,000 years ago. That's what it says there. And there's some really interesting trees, the way the wind shapes them and blows them around. But what the interesting thing is this whole area is nothing but a pile of shells. This little mound up here was all the shells left over after the Seminole Indians have ate them in that, and they just left them here. And so it actually makes like mounds, like little hills here. Look at all the debris they're pulling out of here. I see bicycles and just all kinds of stuff that they've pulled out here trying to keep this shoreline nice and clean. They looks like they've been working at this quite a bit. Now some of this might have came from the hurricanes. That stuff have blown in there and washed ashore here, but they're doing their best to kind of get this cleaned up there. But interesting how much stuff is out there in the water. Yeah, this looks like a generator maybe out. Stuff from maybe boats have went down and have, but I see 1, 2, at least 3 bicycles, and it looks like they're pulling out something else there. That's what these guys are doing, probably out here most of the day working around just pulling stuff up out of the water there. Really pretty interesting. Yeah, they said there was like 4 boats that washed ashore up here during the hurricanes. And a lot of this is debris left over, but yeah, they become unmoored there and end up, this is where they stopped at. This beautiful little house that's up here. I remember years back, this was in disrepair, and they've restored this house, and it's a gorgeous little place. And as we get up there, I'll show you some of the views. Hopefully the sun will come out, and I just could imagine I would just love to own this house and live here. Look at this tree. It's just amazing how the shapes of it is. I think it just comes from the wind that's blowing off the water in that there, but it's a really interesting tree. A lot of them like that in this area. Yeah, you can just see how this tree is just kind of twisted up, and just all comes from the breezes that comes off the water here. And it's over the years, this is the way it grows. Now this tree looks like it's dead right now. Yeah. I hope they don't ever get rid of it, because it's just such a cool looking artifact laying here.
Piece of architecture
from years and years.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a picture of the front of this house. Just a gorgeous area, you know. It's like, I just would love to be able to live here. Look at these dormers up on the top. You know, I don't know what that looks like inside, but you probably have a gorgeous view of the water out in this area. Just a beautiful house. All right, preserving the mound. In 1911, Mr. and Mrs. Wesley H. Snyder purchased this house and the surrounding land. They named their home site Seminole Rest after the Seminole Indians. Their purchase saved the story and even the earlier culture of the Temecula Indians. I'm probably saying that wrong. Tumaquan said that Daddy bought a place from an Englishman, Lord Turner. The buildings of this house and other house, there was a long dock that went out to the bathhouse and was part of on the dock. My father saw this place as he was going duck hunting with some people across the lagoon, and then he got to come over and see it. It was vacant when my father saw it. He bought the 10 acres grove, and I bet you can't guess what he paid for it all. $2,000 on a hill and 10 acres. Mother added to it, there was some land south of the grove between here and Sam's Mound, just protected. Could you imagine buying this area here for only $2,000? And it's almost priceless now. It's just a gorgeous area. And look at these trees up here, up on the mound here. And remember, this mound here, this is all shells. This is what the Indians mounted up here with the shells when they were harvesting them to eat. And actually, look at this palm. Just straight up how tall that thing is. And it goes straight up here. It's at the foot of a dock. They have a dock out here where boats can come in and dock. This is another little house out here. I'm going to look at the sign, and we're going to figure out what this house was used for. It's another beautiful house that really matches the main house. Alright, this was the caretaker's house. It says locals often stayed in this cottage when they were caring for the Snyder property. The name caretaker is just the appropriate for the Snyders. For 77 years, the family guarded the Tomokan story. Their sense of preservation saved the saved information found on the mound. Otherwise, the mound would have been used to build railroad beds and highways. And when they were building the roads and railways, they just wanted to buy the shell. Granddaddy said that wouldn't sell it, and he said they wouldn't spoil the beauty of this property, and that's why we have elevated here. We're going to walk up here to the small house there. This is where the caretakers stayed. I believe they've got the used to have got shades pulled down, you can't see inside, but you used to be able to come here and see inside. And right, they use it for like administration building now. But this is still another beautiful, well taken care of house. It's another beautiful view. You can see the sun wanting to burn the fog off there, but it hasn't burned off yet. But this grouping of trees just looks so cool there with the water in the background. Just gorgeous out here. So right here, I think it's the ruins. It looks like it was probably a like a fire pit or a what do you call it? An outdoor oven. I'm not for sure, but you know, it's kind of in this ruin. But I'm guessing that's what it was. They probably came out here and did a lot of their cooking. Do you imagine the view here? You just having the water right behind you while you're out here cooking dinner. So they have this beautiful screened-in porch here, and be nice. A nice cool day sitting out here. You could have a beverage of your choice, a couple rocking chairs, sit over here and get a view, and on down through here's another couple rocking chairs that you could just sit out here on the porch and enjoy all the scenery here. It's you look out over here. Imagine come out here in the morning and have your coffee as the sun's rising out over the water there. And just think, they had bought this for $2,000. I'll give them 3 times that. Standing up here on the porch, you can look down through there and see all the trees and the mounds. Now back when the Indians was here, a lot of these trees probably wasn't here. And as you can see, some of them, like the palmettos and that, have grown up onto the mounds, and they've just grown top of it and it's been grassed over there. But you dig down there just a short ways, and you'll have nothing but shells. And as I zoom in on here, there you can see all the shells there in the pile. What's for supper? Clams again tonight? Yeah, I just wanted to sit down here a minute. Sit in one of these beautiful rockers there. I'm not going to rock back and forth. And just imagine sitting here, there, and you turn around and your view on the other side there. It is beautiful. I want to own this place. One of the problems when you live right next to salt water, as you can see, this is wood, but it's where the nails and stuff and all the corrosion that comes just be living along the sea. It's a constant maintenance there that you have to do when you live this close to the ocean and to the intercoastal. It sure looks inviting to me. You can sit down and have a beer, have any beverage, a cold iced tea. But just be a great place to spend your evenings. Maybe come out here and have your lunch. Yeah, this little sign's called Mounds of Evidence. Most of these are clam shells, and they've had archaeologists investigated the layers of the Snyder Mound in the early 1990s. Items recovered include ceramics for cooking, as well as plant and animal remains. The presence of charcoal and ash in this layer suggested that burning episodes, the layers separated by sand and shell, suggested that the mound was used by various times for several generations. Very interesting. They said it dated from AD to 5 to 900 AD, and the mounds was deliberately constructed possibly as a house mound. So maybe they even lived in these mounds. Who knows? But it's a very interesting historical spot. So this is a big live oak. These things get huge, and the limbs will get way out there. You would think they break off, but they're very strong. As you can see, the Spanish moss hanging from them. That back years ago was used in the upholstery industry. I don't know if any of you remember what they used to call horsehair in the stuffing in upholstery, but it actually wasn't horsehair. It was Spanish moss, and you wouldn't want to just take a hold of any of this and put it in anything without treating it somehow, because there's bugs in it. And so they treated this down and used it. I know a little bit about the upholstery because that's what I did most of my life. I was an upholsterer. There's some more of these live oaks as we walk down this path. They just kind of branch out, and right over top of the path they come. Even I'm not sure, this is a different tree. No, it's part of a live oak here that comes over to it. So the Tomokan Way of Life there, looks like they've got an alligator here that they, I suppose they ate them. They said they lived in this area in the distance in the trees, and they provided wood and fuel for their shelter in the freshwater springs. So that's another thing, the water out here, you couldn't drink it because it's salt water. And so it looks like they were killing alligators and stuff and eating alligator meat. I had gator tail, it's really pretty good. I hope you enjoy our little tour here of the Seminole Indian Rest. It was nice. I wish the fog had cleaned up a little bit quicker than it did, but we still able to get some. You can imagine some of the views, what it's like on a nice clear day. Here in the wintertime, we get pretty warm during the day and cool nights, so we get a lot of fog in that. So, you know, I thought I'd take you a little tour around, show you some of the things of the Indian Rest. This is in Oak Hill, Florida. It's south of New Smyrna Beach. And if you enjoyed today's videos, give me the thumbs up. I'd like to get out and do some more of these out in some of the parks and that. If you have any comments, leave your comments in the comments section below. And hey, I'm a Amazon affiliate, so you'll see a link down there below for Amazon. And what this does is if you are going to buy something from Amazon, if you go ahead and click on that link and go ahead and do your purchases, it don't cost you absolutely nothing. But what it does is it sends a little bit of help my way there to help support our channel. So again, thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. So we'll see you the next time.